Hi, I'm Eliot, the IELTS expert at Magoosh. In this video, we're going to think about how you can study on your own for the speaking section of the IELTS exam. This is a major issue for a lot of people out there. You don't have time to take a class. You don't know native English speakers who you can talk to regularly. How do you practice for the speaking section if you don't have a lot of opportunities to speak English? Well, we're going to give you some tips in this lesson to think about what you can do, because there's a lot you can do to prepare for the speaking section. All right, so the first thing is some of my students get a little discouraged because they don't have someone to give them feedback, like a teacher or a friend. But you should still try your best to do a lot of speaking practice and record your answers every time you practice. Those recordings help you because you can go back in and listen to yourself. When you listen to yourself, you can analyze things like your pronunciation, your grammar. You can think about things where you didn't quite have the things you were trying to say, where you didn't quite have the language to express yourself in the way you wanted to in that moment. That's a great opportunity to review and to go back in and say, well, maybe I need to learn some new vocabulary related to that practice question that I was trying to do. And that kind of study, you can use your recordings and the review you're doing, and then try to answer the questions again. Answer the same questions 2 or 3 or 4 times, and they should improve every single time you do it. That kind of practice improves your fluency, improves your vocabulary, and even though you don't have a teacher there helping you out, pointing out grammar mistakes or things like that, you can do a lot on your own to notice the areas of weakness in your speaking and to try to improve them over time. So the first tip is record yourself, have structured practice with your recordings, and review your responses every time you practice speaking. Okay, another thing you can do is to review the responses of others. So if you are a Magoosh student, you can practice speaking and then you're going to get sample responses, really great, perfect responses for each of the speaking questions you answer in Magoosh. But if you have textbooks, official materials, most of them will provide sample responses of other people responding to the questions that you are also practicing yourself. Study those things because you can often get really good ideas about vocabulary, about things you can say, how to organize your answers and structure them, okay? So don't just focus on your own responses. If you have study materials that provide sample responses to the speaking questions, build those into your practice. Study them, look at them carefully, and look at how the sample responses are organized and what language they use, because you can incorporate those in your own responses when you respond to IELTS speaking questions. Okay, another tip for self-study in the speaking section is that, well, even though you don't have a teacher or you don't have a native speaker to help you with your speaking practice, you can still find other people to help you practice the speaking section, even if they aren't native English speakers. So, who in your family or among your friends speaks even a little bit of English, or maybe just slightly better English than you? Rely on these people to act as your interviewers. Just have them play the role of interviewer as you practice speaking. You can find many IELTS speaking scripts around in your practice materials, or if you're a Magoosh student, we have lots and lots of speaking questions that someone could use with you to help you practice. The person interviewing you does not necessarily need to be a native English speaker. It's nice if you can find that, because they can offer you feedback, maybe help you with some things that your friends or family may not be able to. But just the act of going through the interview process and trying to speak fluently as someone is giving you questions as they're going to do on the real IELTS speaking section is really excellent practice. So get your friends, get your family, get someone to ask you those IELTS speaking questions as you're recording yourself, and that will be really great practice simulating the kind of experience you're going to have on the real test. A final tip for self-study on the speaking section is to stay disciplined and follow a plan as you study. That's one of the main problems or the main challenges that people experience when they're studying on their own, is that it's hard to stay focused and disciplined over a long period of time. But speaking practice in particular, or the speaking section in particular, is one in which you will benefit greatly if you stay disciplined and practice regularly. The reason why is because fluency and being able to speak fluently is kind of like a skill that's similar to practicing music or like exercise. If you don't do it regularly, you lose the skill in some ways. So you need to be trying to speak on a daily basis or as regularly as you can in English to maintain your fluency and to keep your skills sharp before the test. So follow a plan. What's realistic for you? Can you practice 15 or 20 minutes of speaking every day? That would be fantastic. Several times a week, or for longer sessions at the end of the week, on the weekends, whatever fits your schedule, just try to build in regular speaking practice so that you can keep your skills very, very sharp. And if you need help planning your time and thinking through how to organize your IELTS studies, we have a fantastic resource for you. If you look down in the description, we have a 1-month IELTS study schedule that can help you prepare for the test in an organized way. And you're going to make sure you cover all the skills you need to know before you take the IELTS exam. And if you like this video, go ahead and check out these other videos where you can pick up some more IELTS skills, some more knowledge about the IELTS exam that's going to really help you score as high as you possibly can on exam day.